Hello, hello. How's it going, beautiful souls? I'm actually about to be adding a second person here on this live stream in a moment. I hope everyone's enjoying the Lionsgate portal today thus far. All right. Justin, welcome. Just about to be adding our guest. All right. Our guest today, Candace, should be with us any moment now. And there she is. This is the first time I've done one of these co-live streams, so yeah, let's see how we merge these together. Oh, how do I add her? Candace is here, but how do I... Oh, there we go. I think I'm a noob, guys. A live stream noob, but soon be doing a lot of these. I know this is my first time doing one of these, so I'm over here like trying to figure it out. Right now it says waiting for Candace. Let's see. You there? Uno momento, guys. We're gonna figure this out.
There we are.
There she is. Hello, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Amazing now.
So yeah, everybody, anyone who's watching this now or after this, but I think we only got one person on with us right now. So anyone that's watching this afterwards, this is the first live stream that I'm going to be doing of a series called Talks with Goddesses. And I will be bringing on different phenomenal next level goddesses like Candace. And we're just going to be diving deep into what's going on the planet, the ascension of humanity, the awakening that we're all going through. And yeah, so Candace, can you introduce yourself really quick?
Oh my goodness. So I just need to ask you, are you feeling this amazing connection right now?
I am.
And it's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So definitely something that I've been noticing with people who are awakening or awake, whatever you want to label it as, is there's this greater energy that we're feeling beyond what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So in introducing myself, I want people to feel me before, just like feel the energy that I am.
Yeah, because over anything, we are energetic beings.
That's right. Yeah. So it's hard to put into words. Who am I?
I know, right?
Can you feel me?
I am that I am. That's what I like to say a lot of times.
Yeah,
Because putting a label on ourselves when we are infinite beings is
that's right.
just minimizing us to this label, right? It's
We're
like
playing,
it's
yeah,
like
we're
when you
playing.
ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like they need to come up with one answer, right?
That's right. Who was it that said that? John Lennon, I think he wrote happy, and his teacher was not impressed with his answer and said that he didn't understand the assignment. And he said that you don't understand life, which is true, right?
That's a good answer, right? Happy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely happy right now.
Me too. Like honestly, I feel like we're even scratching the surface on happiness.
That's
Like
amazing, actually. Yeah,
like this year, even day by day, and I've been saying this like when I go around and go to stores and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing every single day just keeps getting better."
just
So
yeah,
I'm doing amazing. Like, and it
yes,
does, especially in these last few months, it's ramping up majorly, leading up till today, which is why,
to right now,
which is why it's so
to
exciting. We
this
decided to do this today on the Lionsgate portal,
impromptu. Yeah,
right?
this is just like absolutely unrehearsed, unplanned, raw, real, right
This
here,
is
right
the
now.
first time we've
We've
really
met
talked besides messaging on
a few times.
Instagram, right?
Yeah, yes,
But obviously we were drawn together amongst many other people that were getting drawn to us
exactly.
right now, especially around this Lionsgate. I have a lot of lions and lionesses coming into my life right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. This magnetism is incredible.
So like when was it that your awakening process started, like majorly, like where
I
it
like how
really
you said
started?
that, like majorly, right? Because
Well, it's
no, it's
awakening's a long process, but that big
exactly.
push, right?
Yeah, it's like when the cork in the bottleneck finally goes poof and comes out in the bubbles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think that I had like a gradual 2 year process. So the last 2 years have been pretty epically integral in my awakening. Okay, it's 2019. So yeah, 2 years. But it was only really in the last few months that the court really
Yeah, right.
major.
That's what I
Here
felt
and here
too.
I am right now. Yeah. So
Yeah,
bizarre.
like last year was when it like really started ramping up for me, actually, when I got my attunement for becoming a Reiki master. Like right after I
Okay.
got my attunement and became a Reiki master, I started going through this series of remembrances and all these like really intense visions happening,
Yeah.
where I started like remembering and having all these visions that took place of all my past lifetimes here on
Yes.
earth,
Yeah.
right? Like one of them, there's this medicine stick that I got from a thrift store that I love going to, right?
Okay.
And I go into this thrift store and I see this medicine stick. It's right up here behind me, like this coyote one. And I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I need to have that thing. And I get it and I go home and I decide to sit down and meditate with it. And like it was crazy because like usually if I'm going into meditation, for me to get to that point where I'm like blasting off astrally, it doesn't
Hmm.
happen right away. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
this was crazy because literally like I get it, I sit down, I'm like about to like start my meditation. The moment like I get in position, touch the staff with both hands, boom, blast off straight into one of the most vivid while awake visions that I've ever had, right?
And
And
this
what?
was this was recently.
This was last year in November.
Okay.
So, and that was like one of the first ones that I had. And it was regarding my life right before this one, actually. So I blast off into this vision, and I see before me, it's like dark. There's a bonfire right there, and I see Indians around the bonfire, right? So I start approaching there, and there's this medicine man that me and him make eye contact. Right? So we start walking and approaching each other, and we come face to face, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, what is your name? And he looks at me, and he's all, I am you, and you are me. The moment he said, boom, like it was a flood of remembrances of that lifetime. Boom, that just rushed through my body. And yeah, so this was my medicine man staff, because I was a medicine man in my past life right before this one. So I got my staff back, my medicine man stick back.
That's amazing. And it's, you know, it parallels a lot of my own experiences that I've had in the last little while. But I've had these types of experiences on and off since childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, just organically, like just kind of like a dream state, but you're awake. So it's that multi-dimensionality. So I'm here with you right now, but I'm also witnessing something that's almost happening in a thought bubble. It feels like it's happening in a thought bubble. It feels like it's happening above you, around you. I feel like that's your consciousness being aware of yourself in different levels.
Yeah, right?
You've experienced. Have you had that type of experience? It's okay if not.
Just no. I was just gonna say that my entire life as well. I've always been a very big imagination, very deep dreamer. Like I've had lucid dreams most of my life, where honestly, if I think back through my life, I pretty much have just as many or possibly more memories in dream world, which is crazy, right? And it's like, I was actually just watching The Matrix again with my son last night. He wanted to rewatch it. And like the part where right after they pull Neo out of the Matrix and unplug him out, and then he's bringing him back in to show him the Matrix, and they're in that this white room with a chair there, and Neo's like, how is this not real? And Morpheus is like, that's the thing. What is reality, right? What is reality? It's like if you go into a dream that's so real that you never wake up from. Alan Watts talks about this, right? A dream that's so real. Yeah.
Right?
What happens when you eventually wake up from that dream? What if we're in a dream right now, right?
That's right. I love like Alan Watts.
Oh, he's amazing. And what you're saying with multidimensionality, especially with this time right now, because we are multidimensional beings.
That's right.
And are meant to ascend. We're meant to do what we're now about to do, finally.
This organic process.
Yeah. It took us a long time, but we finally got it. And, you know, like, you're familiar with, like, the precession of the equinox, and are you familiar with all that and with ancient history very much?
Yeah, as much as I need to be. You know, like I feel like I'm guided to information and I'll absorb bits of it, and then it kind of surfaces when I need it. I don't necessarily have this massive retention of everything, but I have like an understanding of it, if that
an understanding of it. And that's a good point, actually, of what you just brought up on that. And it's like tapping into the universal mind of tapping into the Akashic record, tapping into the knowledge of all existence of past, present, and future type shit, where essentially, like, and that's actually what science is really discovering now. Is I read this article one time where they said memories actually are not stored in your brain. The way that our brain works is essentially like an antenna connecting to the cloud, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that trippy? Like,
It's awesome.
So I think that's along the lines of what you're saying. That's more how I live as well, more intuitively.
Hmm.
Yeah, more this understanding of
And the intuitive leading. So that intuitive leading is what led you and I face to face right now,
yeah,
right? Like that intuitive leading. So I think I intuitively found you. I commented, and then I think when our energies interacted, like we're sending messages to each other via this device here, but there's
yeah.
something else happening beyond that. There's something else happening beyond that.
Yeah, well,
So
I think
our
it's
self,
even our
bodies
higher selves
are
up there probably already making this connection, right? We're already up there making alliances
yeah, that's
and
right.
being like, okay, we need to set this chain of events into place here so our selves down there can finally come together, right? In the
It is
physical
right.
plane
Yeah.
type way.
Yeah. So there's enough of a breadcrumb trail that we've left for each other in our presentation on our page. We're leaving our energy signatures everywhere. And then you and I are getting triggered by it and going, oh, there's something here. Do, 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 do. Let's get together.
Right?
Let's see what this is. Let's bring our stuff together. Let's bring our energies together here right now in our physical bodies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this year is really the energy I see magnetizing and shaking us up. So that energy shaking us up is setting in motion a series of events now that we have been oscillated more open. There's more space there. We're not as confined in our own little world. So as we're popping our heads up, we're like sensing each other. We're sensing, we're creating this. It's almost like I always go to gardens and flowers, so you'll have to
That's fine. I love it.
just like we're sending out that aroma for each other to pick up on now that we've
Yeah.
been. So the oscillation could be like the sunlight triggering us to open and expand and set off that aroma that we're picking up on. And it's again, it's organic, it's natural. This is a very natural process that we're intended to happen
For sure. And I
from my
think
perspective.
no, I totally agree. And I think along the lines of that, with this connecting and being magnets, attracting each other of like
Yeah,
energy,
yeah.
I feel like, especially in these last months,
Oh my goodness.
the difference of energetic signatures is getting more extreme. Meaning,
Yeah,
like back not so long ago, we used to be able to be around people that weren't on the same wavelength as us, weren't
that's
as
right.
high of a vibration as us. But I feel like as we're coming more into this shift, that it's getting more extreme and people are just falling off left and right that aren't on that same vibratory level as us. But also on the opposite spectrum, we're also amplifying our attraction to even have more power of attracting those of like signature to us.
That's right. Yeah. It's really strong magnetism.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
um so with, I know that you feel close close ties to the Lyran uh, and feline energy, and especially with the Lion's Gate and all that. What has been your experiences in regards to that?
okay. So let me just access my mental mind for a second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had a massive block surface. Just these are just ways of explaining this experience. So, um, and there's more to the story that I'll probably back up and fill in a second.
Okay.
But it went around, or okay, no, let me just start from the beginning. I'll make it as short and sweet as I can. So January, I had my daughter.
Okay.
6 months. And that was one of the most spiritual experiences I've ever had. She's my fourth child. And when I had her, I did it at home with no drugs and in a pool. And I was in so much pain. I had to go so deep within myself that I went so deep that I suppose I disappeared.
Wow.
I almost disassociated with my
Okay.
personality. So I went so deep in that I heard a voice.
Okay.
So I started getting instructions on what to do. And there was a welcoming. There was a, oh my goodness, hi, I'm here with you. I love you. You are me. I am you. I love you. And I was enveloped in this love. And I was told, rest in my arms. I'm holding you. I've always held you. I've never not held you. So I was in so much pain, and I just was in complete surrender that I leaned in and I rested on those arms and I listened to the instruction. And the voice said, okay, the contractions are coming again. So they were telling me what to do. Follow the pain. Follow the pain. Everything is energy. Even pain will tell you
Yeah.
something, right? Blend with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I went into the pain and I followed it spiraling all the way into my nerve endings. Like it was almost as though I was traveling down my own nerve endings in my legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I kept going into the pain and I kept just meaning it and just blending into it and disappearing and having this experience over and over. And the voice said, okay, after 3 more contractions, you will meet your daughter. So it was like the biggest pep talk. Like, okay, 3 more. Okay,
Wow.
I can do 3 more. So I was suspended in the water, weightless. I was pushing on the outside of the tub, pushing on it
Okay.
because that's all I could handle. Because for whatever reason, the position she was in, she was firing all my nerves. So I couldn't even touch my own skin. I felt like I was on fire. So I just felt like I was burning alive. So I just pushed on on the the pool, and I was suspended in the water so deep inside my being that it felt like I was suspended in this and like I'm in my inner world, and
Yeah.
complete black. It's just complete blackness, and I'm suspended, and all I can hear is a voice. So after 3 contractions, the voice was right. I met my daughter.
Wow.
Out of that experience, like I opened my eyes like I had just entered another world. Okay. So after
Okay.
being in that experience, I opened my eyes and I was in another world. Like, oh yeah, a daughter, my daughter. Okay, here I am. Okay, I'm Candace again. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm breathing again. I'm sensing, I see light, like there's light. I open my eyes and it's broad daylight in the room that I birthed her in here, right
Yeah.
over there. So I woke up out of this. I came out of this and I picked myself back up. I went back into my personality. I went back into my body. But where did I go? Where was I? Who was I listening to? This is the experience that I was having after having her. I was just like, okay, I've got my daughter, but what was that?
Yeah.
What was that? So I'm not a stranger to odd experiences. I've had lots of interactions my entire life, but this was the most profound, clear experience I've ever had. It was just like, hi, like we're talking now. It was loud. And that voice was stronger than my own thoughts. It came forward. So after that, I just started listening more to that voice. And that voice
Okay.
was louder. So it's not as clear as it was when I was in that dark space. I can't hear it like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear it more coherently. So March, so I'm a new mom. I'm just like, okay, that happened. Where was that? I sometimes go back to that. I'm with my baby and I'm like, okay, but that experience I had, and then I'm still
Yeah.
having,
Yeah.
and then March, this big thing popped up for me and I had to release all of this trauma that came up. Like you were saying, you experienced these past life stuff.
Yeah.
All of this past life stuff was coming up. So when I when I had this massive purge, end of April. So it started in March. It took a month to birth this stuff that was coming up, this second, like, you know, this purge, to purge all
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
to let go. But once that happened, I was like on another trail. I was being guided to people, to do things, to post things, to find information, just like feverishly.
It's
But
just you just know exactly what to do
that's
next,
right.
right?
That's
Yeah.
right. It was a really strong guidance, and it led me to here right now. It led me to Lyra. That was a major piece. I started having visions of lion beings. I started having dreams of lions. I had a lion in my dream actually show up in my backyard in my dream house. I was in my dream in a house.
Okay.
Okay, not my dream,
In
not my
your
dream,
dream house though? Or
in my, not in my dream house, in a house I grew up in, my childhood home.
okay.
And I was in a room in there, and a lion came and put its paws up on the glass window and looked in. And I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, I know that lion. Like, I know this. It was so bizarre in my dream that I was like, this is my lion. Like, this is mine. And it
Yeah.
felt like it felt powerful, and it looked through the glass at me like I could just feel its presence. And I held my daughter and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, I'm going to put her in a room because I know that her fear will be misunderstood by this creature. I know this creature is good, but I know
Yeah.
that it doesn't appreciate fear. It doesn't, I knew that the lion presence, you can't have fear. This is metaphorical,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying is like, there's no space for fear in your being with this Lyran energy.
Yeah.
They don't come together. Like, it doesn't work. You have to
It's like
absolve all
opposites.
fear.
It's
Yeah.
opposites, right? For
Hold
sure.
that Lyran energy, you have to make space for it. And facing fear is a big thing, and getting out these blocks and this stuff. And I feel like a lot of us have gone through that already, and that's why we're starting to find this Lyran piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
That is us. That is our
Right?
lineage. That is
I
our
know.
history. That is who we are. Yeah.
And
So,
like I myself, even like before, because my remembrances and all the stuff regarding Lyra especially started taking place after the 26th of July last month. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
that's when it really, which is kind of the opening of the starting opening of the Lion's Gate, right? And I
that's amazing.
myself, I mean, I've been interested in aliens, UFOs, all these things. I've seen crazy
Me
stuff
too.
throughout my life, seen
Yeah.
crazy UFOs. So, and even like with movies that have to do with, or Star Wars, or any of these type of things, I always felt drawn to those things. And that's what they say is pretty typical with star seeds, because
Mm-hmm.
we've already known that type of thing, like how it is in Star Wars, and it's all these different races from all different parts of the galaxy. And I feel that a lot of people have a very closed mind in regards to aliens, where especially through media and throughout history, with
Yeah.
this image of aliens we've been shown of just grays, which are one of
Yeah.
many races and not really the good ones. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, and this is something that needs to be talked about more and more. And as you see, more and more people are coming out about what's going on with disclosure and stuff.
mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's going to fully happen until everyone is ready, because the benevolent beings of the universe are not going to come down and do first contact if people are going to be in fear, right? It's kind of like what you talked about with the Lyran energy. You're not going to really
We are
connect with the
aliens
Lyran.
to other people. Sorry. Love that.
Pretty much, right?
You're right. Yeah. You're not going to connect to the energy if you're holding fear. It's like I was shown, it's like a phone. If you're on the phone with somebody and there's static and distortion, and you drop the line, that's what fear does with regards to your higher self. Even when you hold fear vibration, you drop the line. You are not
Yeah.
holding the line. You lose connection. literally, like we're
Well,
talking
it's
about,
just it's an opposite frequency, and that's really what I like.
it's a
What I came down
downshift.
to it. It's like what Nikola Tesla said. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration, because that's
Mm-hmm.
really the basis of all. And when you think about emotional things like fear or any of those low vibrational emotions, they're on the opposite spectrum of high frequency.
That's right.
So if we want to be ascending and connecting with these higher realms of beings and coming into our full sovereignty and our true power that we all have, right? Then we need to drop all low vibratory things and keep raising. Although fear and those things served us at one point in our life, right?
Right.
It's no longer necessary.
And we're not going to
Is what
hold,
it is.
when we do encounter fear, we can use that as a jump off point instead of going into that fear and creating more fear and amplifying it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to use this example again, but my labor, I had no fear. I couldn't afford to have fear in the position that I was in because I was so absolutely vulnerable. And I knew that if I had fear in my body, it would cause my body to contract. I would contract, I would close my potential, I would work against my body. So that is, again, metaphorical for all things. When we amplify that fear, we contract in, and we're not allowing the solution. We're not allowing the light in. We're not allowing, we're closing down. And that's definitely what the system has been here on this planet. It's been put us into contraction, put us into contraction that doesn't have expansion. Because if you're having contraction in a benefiting way, you're using it to push, to move something. The type of fear that I'm talking about is gripping and doesn't allow you to movement and freedom. So we are expanding, right? And the energy that we're experiencing right now is causing us to expand so that we can have higher experiences, if you will, because we're letting go of fear and we're witnessing events and occurrences from our past lives or experiences. We're holding space for them, but we're not contracting on them in fear, because when we contract on them in fear, we hold them in. We're not allowing that. We're causing a bottleneck. We're not allowing that cork to come up and out.
Yeah.
Right? We're holding it. So as things are coming up, we are just letting them go, and we're making more space for what we're doing right now. We're consciously connecting. And
I think it's a good point that you bring up in regards to your labor and the pain, which is actually something I've been learning a lot of lately. The benefit of pain.
That's
of healing, deep healing by going through pain. Well, I mean, as an example,
without fear.
With the Wim Hof method, with doing ice baths. Oh my God, the moment you start getting fear and start getting shallow breath, which is what happens when you get into a state of fear, your breath gets shallow, right? Those things happen. Then you can feel it when you're in the ice. The moment your body starts like just tightening, oh my God, like the pain comes and all that. But the moment you let go and you get through the pain and you keep your breath deep, right? That's when you blast off. Instead of tighten up and close, you blast off.
You blast off. When you face it, when you ride.
So I was with some of the people from my team who are Kundalini masters of Kundalini. I mean, top level Kundalini masters, right? And Narinyan one night was like, "Hey, you wanna learn the highest level Kundalini move?" She's like, and then her husband, Dr. Harhari, was like, Oh yeah, it feels like your body's getting ripped apart from lip to lip.
Oh yeah,
Like,
let's do
this is
it.
what they're telling me beforehand. She's like, okay, I forget, it's
Sounds
like
like my
bound yoga
labor.
or something, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it does.
it's this position you get into, right? You have to get into full lotus position, right?
Okay.
Full lotus position, okay? And then you got to put your arm behind your back, right? And then reach each hand around and grab your big toe. You hook your big toe and you stay and you get into this position and you stay there for fucking 30 minutes.
Wow. So they're inducing like states like I was in my labor. They're
Yeah,
inducing these states to
that's
transcend them. That's brilliant,
my
actually.
God. Okay, and that's why that's why I'm, and like you're so spot on with you bringing up that example of how
Hmm.
you push through
Went
and really, yeah.
to the
And
pain.
it's crazy. Pain is
Yeah.
but it's when we are afraid of the pain and we don't go through it. We don't
Yeah.
face the pain with zero fear and stand
Hmm.
strong and rise above the pain, right?
Yeah. Don't face the pain with fear because yeah, it's just that's not the recipe for
It
success.
just brings
You
more
definitely
pain. That's it.
yeah.
But the moment you truly let go, you're not even in your body anymore.
That's right. Yeah, the surrender part.
Yeah, you're absent of the pain then.
You transcend it. That's how you
Yeah.
have people that are able to walk on glass or do some crazy things. But Wim Hof is a beautiful example,
Yeah.
an
Yes,
incredible
Justin.
example.
Morbid healing, Justin.
um, yeah, so I wrote down a note here about disclosure because
Okay.
you and I were talking about this before when we were messaging a little bit.
Yeah.
Disclosure being who we are. I'm gonna just shut my window a little.
Okay. How's the weather where you're at? Is it
It's
hot?
hot.
Oh my
It's
God, it's
quite
hot here
hot.
too.
Feeling the heat. Yeah,
That's why I'm
feeling the
probably
heat.
looking a little sweaty now because I don't have my fan on and
I
it's
don't
a little
either.
hot.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah. I got my water close just in case
But
I.
just like with the cold, how we can adapt to cold, we can also adapt to heat, right?
That's right. Didn't
We just
Wim
got to
Hof?
get through it.
Yeah, didn't Wim Hof do a marathon or I think he ran some sort of a not a marathon, but he did something in the desert.
Oh, okay.
He did
Did
something
he?
in the desert. Yeah, if you look it up, he he ran a great distance in the desert, and I'm pretty sure he said he drank 2 cups of coffee before, and he ended up losing about 2 liters of water. And
Okay.
he used his breathing method, and he was fine in the
The Wim
heat.
Hof
Like, yeah, he's the real deal. He's like he
he
didn't do
is.
anything or anything except well, he didn't do it. He did his training. He didn't
Yeah.
train in the desert. He just did his training and knew he could do it, and then went and did the desert.
Well, because he has taken back control of his body. We're
That's
supposed
right.
to have
His
control of our
autonomic
bodies
nervous
like that, but with modern day society and air conditioning and layering clothes and all these things, we've lost our
comfort.
adaptability. Is all it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Wim Hof is awesome. I know you've been doing the breathing method, right?
I have, not religiously, but it's definitely something that woke me up as well, woke me up more. It was a catalyst, a very strong catalyst. And he's definitely a channeler, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, some of
Reading
our
the
team are gonna go and get certified under his program next year, actually.
That's awesome. I feel like Wim Hof is like soft disclosure.
Right?
He's hinting at who we really are,
Yeah,
and
yeah. In a
again
very
with that,
subtle way.
what we're capable of. And again with disclosure of who we really are, um, as we really anchor in, like you and I are doing this right now, and we're going to do this more and more, and we're going to step forward
Yeah.
more and more and more, so that it's not like, oh, that guy on the mountaintop. Oh, of course, Wim Hof could do it. It's like, no, we're regular people. I'm a mom. I'm a mom.
I'm a dad.
like these soccer moms, your dad, right? We're making it real. Do you know, like, realer than real?
Yeah.
Real.
Well, it's not like we're some wackos that like our whole entire life we've been like off the loose in here, you know,
Yeah.
like
But
I've
it's
done so many different professions and like my dad's a pastor, like this
oh, that's
wasn't
amazing.
on
You
purpose.
probably could go into so many different streams of
Oh
conversation.
my, well, my dad was, before my dad became a pastor, my dad's from Thailand. He was a Buddhist priest from the age of 5 till he was 18, actually.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, he's
What
really
a
cool.
contrast. What a contrast.
I
That's
know.
incredible.
Yeah. And
But
I
when
try
you,
to talk to them because although the definition of Christian means to be Christ-like is what I tell them. And
absolutely.
Jesus is one of my biggest mentors.
Me
Like, I
too, so
want to be
much.
Christ-like, but I don't
Me
want to just
too.
be talking about being Christ-like and reading it in a book. I'm like,
That's right. You're the
Jesus,
living
if
book.
you listen to what Jesus said and what he was doing, if you really look at what he was trying to do, he wasn't trying to do these things to get people to bow down to him. No. He was showing through proof and example what we all have the power to do. And that's why he said, look at all
Being
these
the
things
way.
I've done. You all have the power to do all these things and even greater things.
Even greater.
He raised people from the dead, raised himself from the dead, and ascended in
Yeah.
human form. We can do even greater things than that. So it's like,
That's a
that's what
pretty high bar.
yeah. And I tell my parents, I'm like, it's time to bring back biblical times. Do you think that those stories that occurred back then that was the end of it? No.
That's right. There are some groups of people that believe that God stopped talking to people at a certain time, and bless them. They're totally, if you want to believe that, that's perfectly fine, right? Then
Yeah,
that's your
yeah.
reality. So whatever you
Yeah,
believe, be your reality.
yeah.
So that's huge, that statement that I just made there. Whatever you believe is your reality.
It is. Yeah.
So what we're creating a new reality together right now, you and I, and we're connecting with all of the ones who we're going to sync up with, who are going to create that new reality. We're all going to agree on it, and we're going to recreate here.
Yeah.
We're bringing it. We're bringing
Well, and
it.
this is what everybody's talking about New Earth, right?
Yeah, we are a new Earth.
We
Yeah,
are, and New Earth is
Holly.
being built right now, right?
That's right.
And
Through
a
us.
lot of people would be like, what are you talking about, New Earth? Because they're watching media, they're watching the news, they're still engulfed in this old energy, right?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, there's whole other stories being written right now as we speak, like us speaking right here, and so
That's
many
right.
others around the planet.
That's right.
And I'm not worried about it. And that's why I tell anyone that's listening here, don't
Right.
listen to the media. Don't listen to the news. Don't
Yeah,
listen to the old stories anymore, because
that's
they're
right.
just hanging on for fucking dear life is all they're doing right now. They know they've already
That's
lost,
right.
and they're hanging on to a thread like,
Well,
maybe we can
yeah,
manipulate them a little bit longer here, right?
they need our belief to create the reality. They need the belief to
Yeah.
sustain the story. So we're removing our energy from those stories, and we're restoring, we are restoring the actual story that we are. We store the stories. We are the storage facilities, like major
Yeah.
restoration happening through us, major restoration happening as we are letting go of the fear and allowing these massive icebergs of bullshit to come up from us. We're letting go
Yeah.
of this stuff, and we're creating space for the truth to come in, to be in,
Yeah.
to
Well, and
be
we're
in that.
paving the way and creating the space for the others, the next waves of awakening that will keep happening. You know, we're part
Oh
of
yeah,
this first wave. They'll keep
wave
coming in waves. And that's why we need to truly just step up right now and be the leaders we're meant to be, being the first wave, we need to prepare ourselves to help lead the others and make the way for them, and also realize how powerful we truly are, that we have the power to affect more than just our singular self, but we have the power to affect the entire collective, because really we are all one. We are one with each other, the planet, and the universe as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing what we can here on the physical plane, but also we're not alone. There is our entire galactic family that is here watching, waiting, and in just pure excitement, waiting for the next steps to happen.
So much love. That's right. We really are truly supported. And I'm going to go back to my labor story, because look at how supported I was.
Yes.
I went so deep into myself, and I was not alone. I was greeted. So what does that mean?
Right.
You know, I went so deep and I was greeted. I am here. Oh my goodness, this elation. Meanwhile, I'm like in so much pain, and I'm getting this welcoming reception. Like, yes, oh my gosh, hey, you're here.
Yeah.
And I do Reiki as well.
Okay.
And I had my own healing practice before I moved to this house that I'm in right now, and I have my baby and stuff. So I was doing my Reiki work. And when I do Reiki, I channel. So I was not fully aware of that, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense.
It's just second nature to me. So I start doing my healing, and I'm doing an intuitive form of healing
it sounds like me, and I don't even always call it channeling, but it's essentially what we're probably doing.
What's channeling? It's a channel. It's a canal. What's in a canal? Like moving water. So we're just creating a bigger container for energy to move through us. So when we channel, we're like removing ourselves, and we're just expanding to be filled with more of the light that we are. And then we become resonating like a tuning fork, like a human tuning fork, which is better than actually an artificial tuning fork, because it's like a bioavailable energy that's in sync with the other human energy, right? There's a real generation that can't be created artificially, that we provide as a Reiki practitioner. So as I channel and attune and I'm working on people, I'm bringing in the light of the sun. I bring in so much energy that I feel like I could generate a city. Okay, so I'm bringing all this light in for this person. They take this much.
Because that's all they can handle.
I just moved heaven and earth. I've got all this light for you. And you want this much.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing, but then also part of me feels sad.
Yeah.
Because that energy showed up for them. That light is their light. And I have all these beings around them that are telling them how much they love them. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. But it's just like I'm a bridge in between this light and this person, and all this light wants to be in that body, and they can only take in this much, because that's how much I don't know, what is it? They don't feel like they deserve it. They just can't facilitate it. They're holding on to a bunch of other stuff.
It reminds me of this one quote. I forget how it goes, but it's like, our biggest fear is not that we are weak and nothing, almost like, but our biggest than we could ever imagine, right? I think people are scared of how powerful we truly are.
You know what? To be honest, when I have felt it, at times I have felt the energy that I can carry that wants to, be present with me. And in my young life, it terrified me, actually. In my young life, looking back at, this is a conversation for another time, because I have, 15 years of really extremely wild stuff that happened to me, and hearing loud audible voices as a child and being like, oh my goodness, that's scary. What is that? And with my religious background, anything that I heard, I was afraid of. I had so much fear. I was full of fear as a child.
Yeah.
But still, psychic, if you want to call it that.
Most religions are fear-based religions to still fear of God, fear of damnation, fear of, right?
Yeah.
And I don't believe that those systems and religions were all the way they are now today, but throughout history they were manipulated. They were
Mm-hmm.
manipulated to be put into this system that kind of removed out the good stuff, like the Bible. You know how many books were removed out of the Bible, and then
Yeah.
how it's been changed through translation over the years. Some of the best meat was taken out, because if we understood those points, those golden nuggets, then we would
Yeah,
know that we don't need something outside of ourselves, because the power is already inside us.
that's right. And talking about brother Jesus again, he came to restore that. He was just like, okay, let's cut the fats. All you need
Yeah.
is you and God. Go there. Be still and know that I am God. That's it. That's your
Yeah.
recipe right there. Be still and
Easy.
know that I am God. That's it. And people
Yeah.
were like, that's too easy. Sorry, Jesus. Give me more. He's like, okay, love everyone, your neighbors, your enemies, love everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were like, that's not, no, it can't be like that. We need more. It's like okay, well, like forgive everything
People
then.
wanted things complicated,
Forgive it
right?
all. Yeah, complicate it for me. No, it can't be like that. It can't be like that. No, I want someone to worship. I want to see someone above me. I want them to make it look really hard and really perfect and really unattainable. And I'll and let them be spiritual for me. I'll let them be my guru and they can be God for me.
Yeah.
Because there's this strange relationship with this reluctance in people. They they have relationships with unworthiness and judgment and grief and shame and guilt. All these relationships with all of these with stories, if you want to call them stories, right?
Yeah.
So what did we do? What did you and I do? You know, we had these relationships as well, and we broke up.
Yeah.
We broke up with them all. Sorry, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you know
No.
what? I don't have time for you anymore. I choose love. I'm gonna see this stuff surfacing in me, and I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now that I let it go, I got all this space. Now that I let it go, I got all this love and this light and this energy. Now that I let it go, I found you, and all of you guys that are commenting.
Yeah.
All of you
Yeah.
guys, we're all connected, you know. And when I watch people on YouTube and when I follow people on Instagram, I'm looking for connections. I'm looking
Yeah.
for the ones who
Well,
are
you're
there.
using you're
There?
using you're using the tool, the platform,
That's right.
intuitively, not letting it use you, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Because that's what it is. It's a
Metaphor
tool.
for your mind, metaphor for your
Yeah. And
power.
it's like, if you think social media is bad, it's you need to check yourself. And
Game
why is it negative for you? It's you,
That's
not the
right.
tool, right? And it's good. It's
Absolutely.
actually a really good tool to get past a lot of shit. You
It
know,
is a
I've used it as a tool to get past ego, to get past these things where you're self-conscious about and when I post this, are they gonna like it? Oh, how many shares am I
right.
gonna, you know what I mean? This whole entire box that you can get trapped in, that is just ego driven. So
And
I
we're going to
feel
help
like
break through that.
we are,
We're
yes,
breaking through
yes.
that right now. Yeah. And we're going to keep doing
So
it
many brothers and sisters are shining brighter and brighter right now, like,
together.
where it's going to become so bright that it can't be ignored, you know?
Undeniable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We transform it with the light and the truth and break through those boundaries. And we are being the way. We are being the way together. And that's amazing, you know? And it's going to gain momentum. Doesn't it feel like something's changed in that department? Like there's a foot that is in the door now, and the door is
Oh,
trying to shut on it, and we're that foot, and we're like, no,
there ain't no closing this door anymore. This door's open.
it's open. We're
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Breakthrough.
And next, we're breaking down the wall.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're gonna break down the wall. And I absolutely feel this so much
So,
so, like, no going back.
right.
Yeah, there's no
Well,
going
hey,
back.
I think you and I could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours, but I would love to do this again with you, because I feel like there's just so much more that needs to be said, you know?
Yeah. I have a book full of questions that I haven't even got to. So.
Do you want to ask one of those questions?
Oh, goodness.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you too.
Okay, this one just caught my eye. How do you manage 3D type experiences or mentalities? So people operating from old conditions who might want to coerce you or bring you into playing small. Someone who is just sees you as small and is like won't accept that expanded part, right? And you can feel that. How do you handle that? No pressure.
Go separate ways. I mean, right?
Peace.
Like not have anything to do with
Yeah.
them, because if they're not on my frequency, I don't really want to have people around me that are not on the same frequency as me. And honestly, once you get past that fluctuation between 4D, 3D, as you're getting ready to fully go into 5D, you're still in this flux state of oh, I feel enlightened, oh, I got it, and then you get pulled back down. Then you go out into the world and someone does something that brings you back down. But what I noticed is, because, and I feel like maybe this happened early for me or whatever, like back in, I think it was February this year, I felt this major shift happen in my life where it was this transition where I felt this transition from 4D to 5D.
Yeah.
And since I made that transition, I'm no longer susceptible to these lower vibrations. I can now go out into the world. I can be in certain low vibratory environments, but not be affected by it. And I feel like that's really what the goal is to get out of that flux between 3D, 4D, that some people might be caught in an illusion that they're in 5D.
Right.
But if you're still getting pulled down and you're still being affected by low vibratory things, you're not in 5D yet. Because once you're in 5D, you're no longer in duality. There no longer exist those low vibratory things, right?
That's a beautiful answer.
And then you wake up every morning and you look outside and you're like, oh my God, it truly is heaven on earth.
It's magical.
And you're smiling bigger than ever, and like your heart's just ever expanding, feeling like it's gonna burst out of your chest, right? And this is what everybody talks about, heaven on earth. It's not like we're gonna like blast off into a spaceship into some other dimension magically and there's streets of gold or something. No, the streets might look like gold because they're sparkling, and like to you it's like, oh my God. It's like with psychedelics, like someone can be on mushrooms and look at like cigarette butts and think it's the most beautiful thing they've ever seen, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's that shift of perspective. It's like what Jason Silva talks about sometimes of seeing something again for the first time, because once you've shifted your perspective, or once you've shifted dimensions, you're then in a new dimension. You're then seeing things again once you already have seen for the first time again, though.
That's right.
It's like thinking with the difference between 2D and 3D, right? For a 2D
that's a very good example.
It is. For a 2D being to be able to grasp 3D, it's hard, right? Because the difference between 2D and 3D is so massive.
Yeah.
And that's what it is also between 3D, 4D, flux, and 5D. It's a massive difference. But once that shift happens, you're then in, it's like you have this protective barrier around you, this high frequency protective barrier, because you're in that higher frequency field.
Yeah. I feel like, we've gone from our light being, or this is just my interpretation of it. I feel like my light was like really small inside. And once these things happened this year, experiences, expansions, I really do feel like I'm in that light now. I feel like I feel like that's outside of me. I feel like even my aura has gotten bigger, just to express how I feel, just to express my senses. Okay. So I feel like my senses have changed. My aura has changed. I feel myself way out. So when I'm driving in my car, I feel like all my people are in me. I can feel the person behind me. I can feel the person in front of me. I'm like, oh my goodness, like everyone's in my energy field.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel very expansive, and there's a deepening.
Well, and that's when we get to that place, that's where we're like Jesus, because Jesus was able to walk into a town. The moment he walked into a town, the whole town shifted its vibrations because he was such high vibration. He had so much love that just by coming into an area, the consciousness was raised. And that's where we want to get to, right? Where we touch a door handle, and by someone coming and touching that door handle after us,
the blessed door handle.
have this seed of awakening implanted in them. Every time we go out, we're shining so bright that people can't help but notice and be thinking in their mind, what do they have? Because I want it, right? And it's infectious. And that's what we need to be doing. And that's where we need to drop all this fear, because that's what it is. It's this fear of, oh, they're going to think I'm weird. Oh, they're going to judge me. Oh, they're right. Like, the moment we drop that fear and get to a place of pretty much just not giving a fuck, not caring what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Really,
it's
just
full acceptance of who you are. It's just this full acceptance, and it is what it is. I know that saying actually has new meaning to me. It is what it is, because I am that I am. So the isness that I am just is what it is. And it just,
it sounds like a Dr. Seuss.